Hello, good evening. Welcome. It's another beautiful start to a great week. So I will just hold on a bit for other people to join. Let's just listen to the music. Welcome. Hello. Okay, what are we discussing today? The enemy called stress. The enemy called stress. Take it down before it gets you down. Hey, welcome Ayo Long. Ayo, I believe. Yeah, so hello. How has today been? How has July been? Welcome. I like the song by Inosa and Myresi. Hi Dio. So how has today been? How has the start, to the second half of the year been for us, right? How has that been? I hope that we've had a great start to the year, half of the year, right? It's been an interesting year, 2020. But please, I hope no one, here or watching this now or after is thinking, oh, 2020 is lost. Not at all right? July is kicking in strong and we just need to be determined to make the most of it. Okay, so good evening. How has July been for you? How has today been for you? How has the weekend been for you? Hope it's been a good weekend for you. Hope you found some time to rest, and just rejuvenate. Okay, so today we have a very interesting topic. I thought about different things that I could have talked about today, but I remember that one of my colleagues, she typically would say, oh, I'm stressed, stress from this stress to this to this stress to that. And I thought, okay, maybe I should talk about stress today. That's why we're looking at the enemy called stress. Take it down. I feel like, pointing the gun. Take down stress, before it takes you down, okay? So that's what we're going to be discussing today. So, thank you for joining me. Like I say, this is your Sunday tonic. Tomorrow the work week starts. So, the week starts today, this is your Sunday tonic to get your work week in great shape, okay? Give you something to get your week started on a great note. Get your week in that you in that frame of mind to have a great week at work, okay? So that's what we're doing with this Sunday tonic. So the enemy called stress. In fact, I was considering whether I should call it stress, your enemy or your friend. You choose, something around that. But bottom line is we're going to talk about stress today, right? And what it does to us as 9 to 5 hours as employees, okay? That's what we're going to be talking about today, okay? Especially because, some research I've seen, says that people have a lot of, high BP, Sunday evening, stressing, thinking about work is starting tomorrow, all that has to go do with all of that, okay? So that's why I thought, okay, let's discuss stress. So before we go on, who am I? My name is Nneka. What I call, for the purpose of these sessions, what I call I'm an advocate for employee happiness. I teach people how to enjoy their jobs. Essentially, I teach you how to be happy at work. And I'm not saying be happy because you're not going to leave. I'm saying be happy because this is the life you are living now. Okay, this is the life that you're living now, right? So be happy while you're at it. Make the most of it while you're at it. Okay, and don't enjoy it, right? And I say to people that the principles to be happy at work, the principles to enjoy your work are universal. They don't depend on how much you earn. They don't depend on how long you've worked. They do not also depend on where you work either. Those three things are not critical factors, right, in determining whether you can be happy or not at work, okay? And life is a journey, right? I'm not saying stay where you are. I'm not saying remain an employee. What I'm saying is that you should be happy where you're at work, and that's what I want to do with you. And that's what I do with this platform, right? Teach you essentially how to enjoy your job, how to get the most out of life. And why is this important, right? Why is it important to talk about this, right? Because many adults, or all working adults, spend more than 70% of their waking hours at or around work. If you work Monday to Saturday, it's more. If you work in a traffic-laden city like Lagos, it's small. All right. So because many people, all working adults, spend upwards of 70% of their waking hours weekly at and around work, it's important that this aspect of your life needs to be giving you some form of satisfaction. Otherwise, what's the point? Okay. So that's why we do this. I call them Sunday Tonic. It's my contribution to you, contribution even to myself too, right? Because I've learned that as I teach, I get better, okay? So I'm sharing these principles to help you and to help me also, okay? And that's why we're sharing these principles. I've been in corporate Nigeria for over 12 years, and I've thrived and enjoyed my work in a relatively stressful environment, you know, and so that's why I teach this, all right? Your mindset to work determines how productive and how successful you will be at work, okay? How you approach work, your mindset to work will determine if you are happy at work or otherwise, okay? So that's why we're doing this. I'd like to ask those of us who are on, what causes you the most stress at work? What causes you the most stress at or around work, you know, around the work that you did today? What causes you the most stress? And I'm asking that question for a reason. You may never have sat down to think about it, okay, you may never have paid attention to say, okay, you just say I'm stressed, but you're not even very aware of what is it that causes me the most stress. Okay, I think it's very important, right? So ask yourself, take a break, you know, take a pause and ask yourself, what causes me stress at work? Can I identify 2 things, 3 things, 1 thing that is the reason why I feel stressed, all right? So ask yourself that question. What causes me stress at work? We'll start by identifying that, okay? And I would like to hear from those of us who are on, what causes you stress at work? Today we're discussing the enemy called stress. You know, I was saying take it down, right, before it takes you down, before it gets you down, all right? So what causes you stress at work? I'd like to hear from us. What causes you stress at work? It's very important. So a couple of weeks ago, right, so we've been doing this IG live since May. I think the first was May 1st. And that day we had the IG live and people said, oh, they think it would be better if we did it on Sunday. And so we now changed it to Sunday Tonic. And 2 or 3 weeks ago, we started a series on relationships, critical relationships at work. And we mentioned like 6 or 7 relationships at work. If you missed that, catch it on my IGTV, all right? And in fact, someone said to me yesterday that, Neka, I've been missing your IGTV sessions, but guess what? I stayed up all night yesterday and slept off till I was watching, you know, the IGTV, just trying to catch up. Okay, so Kids in the Truth says office politics. So this is a very touchy subject, office politics, right? And I've been struggling. Poor work environment, thank you. I've been struggling with whether or not to do a webinar on office politics or on teaching your boss how to treat you right, okay? So I think I want to do teaching your boss how to treat you right first, okay? And we're doing that in August or September. I hope I don't procrastinate and push it to September, but I want to do it in August, okay? I want to do it in August so that I can do another one maybe in November, so 1 a quarter, okay? And so to discuss that, right? How to teach your boss how to treat you. Office politics, maybe we'll do that in November, I don't know, but one of them shall come up very soon. Poor work environment. Now, you will need to unpack that to understand when we say poor work environment. It could be the chairs, it could be the people, right? It could be the work itself, it could be the work office location, okay? The stress. So there's a lot of stuff to unpack in just that statement, poor work environment. But why I'm asking this question, and thank you very much, Kids in the Truth, is that it's important that you know what gives you stress. What gives you stress? If you are quick and if you're smart and self-aware enough and self-conscious enough to know what gives you stress, that's number one step to taking stress down. Identify what gives me stress. Oh, tools, you work with the government. Okay, so that one is a different kettle of fish, you know. And I've had sessions where people that work in government ask me some questions and I try to answer. But one of the things I tell people that work in government is, what is your why? Why are you there? Get clear on that, okay? Get your clear on that. That will help you to keep your energies up, keep your joy up while you are there. All right, that's the truth, right? That's just the truth, okay? So, identify your stressors. What are the things that stress you? What are the things that stress you? You need to know that, okay? So, like I said, I struggled with what topic to talk about today. Work for the last 2 weeks has been very busy. In fact, last week session was one of the shortest that we had because I couldn't even advertise it well enough. I was really tired from work being very busy. Right, work was very busy. You see, I didn't say work was very stressful. Work was very busy. Okay, work was very busy. Guys, pay attention to the words I'm using. Work was very busy. I didn't say stressful. All right, because again, we associate the word stress, and I'm just going to flow, right? I have notes, but I'm just going to flow. Okay, we associate the word stress with negative. Right, so when we say stress, it stirs negative emotions in us. But really, you know, if you're aware of the process of refining oil or getting crude, or the process of refining gold or diamond, it's a stress. It's applying stress and pressure on certain elements to create these beautiful things. All right, so the language you use to address the experience you have with work is very important. All right, so I had a colleague, and maybe she'll watch it sometime, but really she inspired me to do this topic, right? A lot of times talking to her, she talks about how stressful work is, how she's been stressed, you know, week to week, back to back, and all of that. And I just keep hearing stress when she's talking. And, you know, I said to myself that that's one of the things that spurred me on to say, let me even deal with this, right? Let me do this IG live session, because a lot of people talk stress with work, okay? Maybe I should just do this IG live to help some of us. All right, to deal with this issue of stress, work stress. You've said it so many times, you've heard it taught so many times, that your brain has built a link between that word work and stress. So when you think work, you think stress. The same emotions, the same tension that, you know, a stressfully negative circumstance stirs in you is the same emotion, the same negative feelings, the same negative hormones that work stirs in you. All right, so you need to be very careful about that. Okay, so you remember I'm teaching you how to enjoy your job, right? That's what we're doing. That's what I do with NECA Speaks. Teach you how to enjoy your job. Like I said, you can Google my name, where I work. One of the most stressful places you can work in the world, but I have thrived. And to be honest, I don't consider myself stressed up. All right, I do not. I've done this job for 12 years. I do not consider myself stressed up. Can it be demanding? Yes, it can. I don't consider myself stressed. Okay, thank you. Yes, kids in the truth. Busy versus stressed. Right, busy versus stressful, two different things. So let's get into it. What is stress? What is stress? Right, and I'm not going to go into a dictionary definition and start speaking English to go far and all of that. No. Stress is, you know, mental, emotional pressure or tension. Right, very simple. Right, it's that pressure, the tension, you know, and it manifests itself in very interesting ways. You know, some people break out in sweats. You know, some people start having headaches. You know, some people get really nervous and they are shaking. Some people have panic attacks, right? When they face stress. Some people have panic attacks, okay? Headaches, sweating, right? That's what stress is, essentially that mental tension, you know, and it's pressure, tension, pressure, okay? Pressure. You have elevated heartbeats, right? Heart rates go up, okay? You know, and that's those are the kind of things that you see when you say there's stress. What do you do with stress? What you call stress, right? Especially in the work context, okay? What do you do with it? Number one, so we're going right in, right? Number one, accept that stress, as you call it, is an integral part of life. Stress is an integral part of life. You can say it to yourself. Stress, work pressures, being busy at work, people. You hear people say, right? You wanted to work, okay? You looked for a job, you got a job, you sought a job out, right? So, accept, number one, that stress is an integral part of life. Stress is an integral part of life. That's what it is, okay? For those of us ladies who wear wigs, right? To get the wig looking lovely, you know, that's those straight ones that you have. You got to apply heat on it. That's what you do. Okay, you're going to iron a shirt to put on. You're going to apply heat, the pressure from the iron on it. So stress is necessary, essentially. That's what I'm saying. Stress is an integral part of life. Okay, it's an integral part of life, and you cannot do away with stress. Accept it. You need stress to function. You need stress to produce. You need stress to do the great things that you want to do. Sometimes stress is needed to bring out the best in you. All right, stress is important. Okay, so that's number one. Now the question is, how do you respond to it? What is important? How do you respond when you are faced with when you are put in a demanding situation, in a tight situation? How do you respond? Right? That's what is important. How do you respond when you are faced with a stressful situation? Very critical. How do you respond? Okay, that's what is important. Now, if stress is in the mind, right? If stress is in the mind, the question is, then our first response point should also be dealing with our minds. Sorry, guys, let me try to put on my earpiece, right? So that, let me see if the sound will be better. I don't know if you guys are hearing me, so let me put on my earpiece just so I know if you guys can hear. So, Chinaya, are you saying well? Guys, just let me know if you can hear me well. I wanted to know if you can hear me well so that I'll know whether I should use the headphones or not. Okay, just let me know and I'll know whether I should use them or not. Okay? Alright, so I was saying that the first thing to know is that stress is a part of life. And if stress is a part of life, right, and stress is in the mind, you know, starts in the mind, okay, the question is, how do you deal with it? Dealing with it starts from your mind. So the first thing to ask yourself, what's your mindset towards stress? When you feel the pressure of work, when that situation comes up that causes you stress, all right, thanks, getting the truth, okay, that situation that causes you stress, okay, what do you do? How do you react? How do you respond? What goes on in your mind? What thoughts do you allow to dominate your mind when you are faced with that stressful situation? What thoughts do you allow to run through your mind when you are faced with it? That's where it starts from. Stress, you know, pressure, mental pressure, tension, and all of that. When you are faced with it, what goes on in your mind? What are the things that you allow to start running in your mind? Because it starts in your mind, you win in your mind. So that's where it starts from, okay? So that's number one for stress. It's mental and it has to be dealt with first in your mind. What happens in your mind when you are faced with stressful situations? So that's number one. Accept that stress is an integral part of life. That's number one. Two, and then begin to watch what's your mindset towards stress. Your mindset, is it, oh, hey, they have come again, they want to kill me. These people are sucking my blood. These people just want me to die. What kind of life is this? Oh my goodness, I'm finished. Life is this. You know, when a negative situation happens to you at work, when you hit a brick wall, when you have a deadline to meet, okay, what emotions get stirred in you? What thoughts do you allow to run through your mind? Do you think I'm finished? Do you think, oh, wow, man, I'm exhausted. Oh God, they have come again. These people want to kill somebody. These people don't know that there's somebody has life to live. They won't allow somebody to sleep at night. Oh, this. A call comes through. What is your default response? That's where we need to start from. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Right? What do you think? Critical, okay? If you're going to win over stress, if you're going to take stress down, ask yourself, what's my default response to a stressful situation? When that issue comes up, when my boss sends me an email that I don't like, what's my default response? Do I get overwhelmed? You must think I am more than this. You must think I can do this. I can beat this, right? I don't need to be put down by this. I'm not going to be put down by this. I'm not going to be overwhelmed by this. No, you're going to tell yourself that. So what is your reaction when you face a brick wall at work? How do you respond? What do you say in your mind? What thoughts do you allow to run through your mind? What are those thoughts? That's critical. If you're going to take stress down, if you're going to rise above, if you're going to master stress, if you're going to keep stress subject to you, that's very critical. What thoughts run through your mind? Okay? Then number 3, I believe, identify what stresses you. I'm going to spend some time on this. Know your triggers. The work you're doing, and even you as a human being self-aware enough, right? What stresses you? What are your triggers? What do you see, or what happens to you? What kind of emails do you get? Who in your office writes to you and you go, who? Which of your clients, which of your customers, right? What circumstances, what kind of meetings stress you? Identify your triggers. That's number 3 or 4, you know, like I said, I'm flowing, okay? to be able to master stress, to be able to overcome stressors, you need to know what are those triggers, what are the things that cause you to go into that state of tension, that state of being emotionally overwhelmed. What are they? Which boss, and let's be honest, which even colleague, which even team member walks into your office and you feel triggered? Whose call do you see and you're like, gosh, what's going to happen now? Right? Who? Ask yourself that question. Right? What meetings? So you have these maybe weekly meetings, monthly meetings. You see an email from someone saying they need to be meeting with this particular client, or a particular customer comes in and you're like, hey, voila. What are the triggers? Deadlines, presentations. What are those things that cause you stress? I'll give you some examples. So for example, for me, even for these IG lives, right, that I'm doing a bit more often, that I'm getting a hang of, right? Sometimes before the live, I feel tension. What do I tell myself? People, they do them. I've done it before. Even the first one that I did, I said to myself, people, they do live now. I'm not the first one to do live. Waiting, people, they do now. We don't have two heads. That's one thing that I tell myself a lot. When I'm faced with a stressful situation, a situation that causes stressful emotions, I tell myself, see, the people that have been doing that and they don't have two heads. And that thing I tell myself, right, is what's the worst that can happen. So I ask, what's the worst case scenario? In this situation, what is the worst case scenario? I think about it. I'm like, okay, so if the worst happens, okay, so what happens then? Am I dead? What's the impact? Okay? I'm going to know your triggers, know the things, be self-aware enough. Because sometimes we face certain situations and we go through the cycle of the stress and we go through the whole length of the emotions. We get ourselves worked up because we're spending time thinking on those emotions. We're thinking over and over again. Well, we are literally, chewing on the emotions, right? And you are heightening your stress level. Whereas if you are self-aware enough to know that this is a trigger, this situation will most likely stir up these emotions, you can quickly grab a hold of those emotions and arrest them before they go out of hand. What are your triggers? Deadlines. You're supposed to send in a report. 2 hours to timeline, you're not yet done. If you are self-aware enough to know that this can cause you stress at work, you can quickly separate from it and say, okay, Neka, calm down. You're getting stressed. This timeline is due. You're not likely to meet this timeline. So what do? You can tell yourself that. And what does that do for you? It helps you to talk to yourself, calm down, and strategize on what to do. If I cannot meet the timeline, then can I talk to the person that's responsible for the timeline? It unfreezes you. So you must know your triggers. You must know the things that cause you stress at work. If it's a particular kind of email, right, a particular kind of request, or a particular task in your job description that causes you stress, it can be a particular task. There's some tasks that I get, I'm like, I rather not do this. I rather not go there. But they are a requirement in your work. So what do? Are you self-aware enough to know this is a requirement in my work and how do I deal with it? Okay? Very, very important. You must identify your triggers. You must identify your triggers. And this also goes for even outside work, like in your home, wherever you find yourself, okay? Knowing the things that cause you stress is critical to being able to master stress and keep that stress level down. If you know the things and you are conscious enough to be able to master them, it will help you keep your stress levels down. And you see, stress stops your productivity. It impedes creativity. Right? Stress stops productivity. It impedes creativity. When you're stressed, you can't be as productive. That's the truth. That's the honest truth. Okay? There are times when I've had deadlines, I just tell myself, man, I cannot come and go and kill myself. There are times, I shared this a while back, and I had a deliverable to send to a client. So I work as a consultant, right? I had a deliverable to send, and it wasn't up to me. I'd sent it forward for review. But the person I was supposed to review had taken over a week and the deadline had come and the person hadn't reviewed yet. So about 8 p.m. Now I work in VI and I live on the mainland in Amuwo Odofi. And so I got up to leave the office and start going home. And my team members were like, Neka, what's going on? You're going? I said, yes, so I've done my own bit. I sent this thing forward for review early enough and it hasn't been reviewed. I cannot come and go and kill myself. My safety and who is alive is who is going to do work. So I packed my things and went home. I didn't even engage with the person and get upset, and all of that. So what did I say to myself? And this is part of, by being a person of faith helps me. I'm a Christian, right? The Holy Spirit helps me to do this, okay? So he said to me, you get upset with your person you're reporting to, or a direct supervisor. The person has two reactions: get more upset with you for getting upset with them, or get onto the work. At the end of the day, you're affecting your relationship with this person. What if the client doesn't not even looking out for these dates? What if the client doesn't even remember that this thing is due today? Why get worked up and quarrel with this person? The client didn't say anything that day. Saturday, my boss at the time sent the output to me. I reviewed, and we finished and sent it to the client. The client was happy. What did that help me avoid? Tension. My own mental well-being, which is why, I say to us here that I'm first about your mental space, your mental well-being, about you. Who are you becoming? How are you happy at you? That's who I'm first about, before even your boss or your employer, whoever. So what did that do for me? It preserved my mental well-being. That's number one. Number two, it preserved the relationship, because I didn't get into I'm upset. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you sent your own input so I could send it to the client? I didn't get into all of that. And I didn't, start reaching out. It just preserved my peace. It just preserved my peace. All right. So I'm saying this to say to you that there's an enemy called stress, and stress can be your friend, right? But stress, many times we have associated our work with stress. Okay. So we approach work from that perspective of I'm tired, of it's going to be stressful, of all of that. Okay. So it now keeps you in that heightened place of being stressed. There's no need for that. All right. So again, identify your triggers. Now, I'm going to say this. If every time your boss calls you, your heart skips a beat, your heart jumps, there's a challenge. You need to ask yourself what's going on. You need to really sit down and maybe get into a coaching session. Let someone help you identify what the issues are and know if it's an employment relationship that you should stay in. If every time an email comes from the person you report to, which means literally every day of your working day is stressful, it's not healthy. Okay? It's not healthy. All right? If every time you have a reporting meeting, you're always behind, those kind of things are unnecessarily stressful every time, so if you don't have the tools to deliver on your work, that causes you to always be under pressure, causes you to always be tense, please, those are things that you may want to address, so that you decide that for your own mental health. Okay, very critical. So I've said, accept that stress is an integral part of life. And then evaluate, change, modify your default response to stressors, okay? To stress as a whole. Then 3, identify what stresses you. What are your triggers, and then handle them. So I've given some examples, but if you ask me specific questions, I can tell you different ways to address those kind of stressors. You need to know what stresses you and have a mindset response. Have something that you have practiced and schooled yourself in as a way to respond to that stressor. All right, so that's number 3 or 4. Let me just call this number 4. Who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Who and what are you listening to? Are you always gisting with friends that talk about how stressful work is? How much they hate work? Are you always talking with colleagues who consider the work environment stressful and crazy and demanding? Is that what you guys always talk about when you're talking about work? Who and what are you listening to? Ask yourself that question. Who and what are you listening to? Are you always on about the people you are talking to? You're always talking about work in the negative context. This is something I need to sit down and introspect about. I kid you not. Who are you listening to? What do you guys talk about? What do you and your friends gist about? It's gist, Abby. Now, in my mind, gist is meant to be relaxing. If the gist you're always gisting with your friends is stressful and tensioning, not allowed. What do you guys gist about? What do you listen? What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? This is very important and has a huge impact on your stress levels at work. If what you keep hearing are things that reinforce how stressful work is, work will only get more stressful and distasteful for you, and the experience at work will get worse, okay? And you can't up your joy index, right? So what I'm about is about helping you to be happy at your job, helping you to up your joy index at work. If you're constantly being reminded of all the negative things about work, and this may be with colleagues or team members in your direct team or your friends that work in other places, if your gist in your free time, maybe with people who have left your organization, who seem to be painting the grass as greener on their own side, right? And then you forget what the things you have to be grateful for are. Okay? What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? We have to listen twice as much as we speak, we say, but again, that tells you how much the impact of listening is on who you are as a person. So who are you listening to? What are you listening to? If it's your team members, right, what do you discuss about the boss? If you keep discussing negative things about the boss and how stressful and how demanding the boss is, guess what? Life is perception. Life is perception, okay? Your experiences in life are largely driven by your perception, by the lens through which you look at life, okay? So if you want to avoid stress, minimize the impact of stress on your life, you've got to be careful what you listen to. You've got to be extremely careful what you listen to. What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Very important. Who and what are you listening to? If you're going to have a good experience at work, if you're going to have less stress, you've got to be careful who and what you are listening to. Who and what are you listening to? Ask yourself, if all your gist revolves around how this client is demanding, how this boss said this, how this boss said that. I'm not saying your boss is perfect. I'm not saying your manager is perfect. I'm not saying your manager shouldn't discuss, amongst your friends. But don't sit down and introspect. What are you always talking about? If you look at all the gist you're gisting about your boss with your team members, okay? If you look at all the gist you're gisting about your boss with your team members, how much of it are positive things? If you look at the gist you are gisting with your colleagues, with your friends about work, how much of it are positive things? Ask yourself that question. How much of it are positive things? I'm pausing, so that you can ask yourself, how much of it are positive things? I don't want you just listening and then going away and say, oh, nice one. No. Ask yourself and be determined from today to take steps to avoid those kind of negative gist. And it's very simple. Someone comes to me like, Oga said this. Nobody is perfect too. They're like, hold up, what's going on? That's not your normal reaction, my Omo. All this one we'll be talking about Oga since negative. How has it helped us? How has it helped us? Ask yourself. Has it helped you in any way? If it hasn't, then backtrack. Rethink your approach. What are you discussing about your boss? What are you discussing? Ask yourself. Okay? What are you listening to? Okay? Again, around who are you listening to? What are people saying about their own bosses? Okay? And this can swing both ways. Like I said, some people who you work with, you make it seem as if, where they work, is the best, is the greatest. And when you hear, you long to work there. But I can assure you that they also have their own challenges where they work. They just may not be focused heavily on discussing those challenges. So, but why are you always discussing your challenges? All the things that are wrong is what you focus on. And that leads me to the next point, which is, what do you keep saying to yourself? Your voice is the strongest impact on your mind. There's some research around that. There's some research around the words that you speak. And many of us have heard this story around a particular plant that someone puts, and two plants, and same kind of plants, same sunshine, nutrition, everything. The person will walk by one and say, oh, you're a very lovely plant, you're growing well, blah, blah, blah. The other one will walk by the second plant and say, this dying nonsense plant, and abuse it. And what happened? The plant that was receiving positive words flourished and blossomed more. So what are you saying to yourself? What do you say about work? And this is both your thoughts and your conversations. What do you say about work? Ask yourself. What do you say to yourself when you are tired and exhausted? Gosh, this work seems like they want to just kill somebody. Let me not take my face off the camera. It's like they just want to just kill somebody. It's so stressful. They demand this. They demand Y. They demand Z. They demand X. Oh my goodness. This, da. Is that what you spend time talking about every time about work? Is that what you do? What do you spend time talking about when you're even talking to yourself? What do you say to yourself about your work? What do you say to yourself about the future of your work? What are you saying to yourself? What are you talking? This is really critical to determine what you get out of your work life and how stressful work will be for you. The things you say to yourself. Your voice to yourself is of great impact. Your voice to yourself is of great impact. If you're going to take down the enemy called stress, watch what you're saying to yourself. Watch what you're saying about your job. Watch what you're saying to yourself about how work is. Like I said at the beginning, work can be busy. And it is good to be busy. Okay? But if you always associate work with stress, your mental health will not be on par. It won't be great. If you always associate work with stress, your mental health will not be great. Your mental health will not be great. I can assure you. Oh, I can assure you. If you continue listening to stressful talk, continue listening to people talking stressful stuff, your boss discussing your boss, even discussing with your boss. Yes, even discussing with your boss. If you're always discussing with your boss, and the core of your conversation is how demanding work is, how you hate this job, how you wish you could just resign. I'm not against resigning. Right? How you wish you could just resign, how you wish you could go and work somewhere else, how you wish you worked in this particular place. If that is the crux of your gist around work. So my point, the core of what I'm saying is, what are you feeding your mind with, right, around your work? What do you discuss often around work? That's critical to determining whether you'll be stressful or you'll be happy, right? So what are you saying? What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to yourself? Another point to help you master stress and take it down is to have a distress mechanism. Have a distress mechanism. And what do I mean by that? I said in my book, Why Your Boss Prefers Your Colleague, I said in that book that the overwhelm of work needs an outlet. The overwhelm of work needs an outlet. I said that in that book, and I explained it in detail so you can get the book to see what that means. The overwhelm of work needs an outlet. If all your life revolves around work, you will be stressed. Even if you own your own business, if all you do, you have nothing else that's of interest to you that's not as demanding as work, you will be stressed. You will be stressed. Yes, you will be stressed. The overwhelm of work needs an outlet. You need to have an outlet where you can sit back and do something different. Where you can sit back and relax and clear your head. Swimming, cooking, movies, spa, gisting with friends. Not stress gist about work, gisting about movies, remembering fun times, playing games, whether it's the PS people, for the guys and even the girls, right? Whether it's exercise, whatever it is. The overwhelm of work needs an outlet. Now, the interesting and the sad thing really about this is that if you don't know this, if you're not conscious enough of the fact that you do need an outlet, you won't even go after that outlet. And what do I mean? So if you're not conscious enough of the things that you can do to distress, you wouldn't know that, you wouldn't even know when you are stressed, and you would not know to do those things. No, you will know when you are stressed, but you won't know what to do, so you get more stressed. Catch me, please. I'm saying, if you do not recognize that the overwhelm of work needs an outlet, you will be stressed and you won't know what to do. First, you will be frustrated that you are stressed, so you'll be upset. Why am I stressed again? This work, and you're going on, and you are making the situation worse. Okay? So not only are you making the situation worse, you don't even know what to do to solve it. But if you know your stress triggers, you know when your body is reacting to stress, and you know what it is that you can do to relieve yourself of that stress, then when the signs come, you're like, okay, time up, pack up, let me go and rest, let me go and do something else. Right? So the overwhelm of work needs an outlet. It needs an outlet. Work can be overwhelming, all right? The Lord rested on the Sabbath day, okay? The overwhelm of work needs an outlet, and you've got to fight for that outlet. But if you don't even know and recognize, and I'm meant to teach you that, okay, you must know that whether you're a business person or you're a 9-to-5er, your work cannot be all your life is about. Your work cannot be all your life is about. You must have a distress mechanism. Movies, praying, reading a book, a novel, you must know what is your outlet for the overwhelm of work? When work gets overwhelming, what do I need to do? Do I need to pray? Do I need to listen to a particular kind of music? Do I need to go for a dancing session? Do I need to go to the gym? Do I need to go and swim? For me, I've said swimming how many times? Swimming, helps me relax. I also enjoy cooking. I enjoy creating meals, So the question is, are you even self-aware enough? Are you self-aware enough? All right? And then one thing that works for me for stress, because again, a trigger can be when you're faced with a unique kind of job, a unique kind of assignment that you've not done before, and you're wondering, how do I go through this? How do I solve this? Okay, I pray, and the Holy Spirit gives me wisdom. See, the Lord covers me literally. That's the way I can say it. He covers me from shame. There are outputs that I'll be about to click send, and He'll say, go and check this section, and I'll go and be like, if I click send, set up. There are if I start the examples, we won't leave here today. If I start giving you examples of times that the Lord has reminded me of an area, a report, go and check this section, check that section. Sometimes it's in my sleep, my team members, I can wake up, and I'll just feel like, oh, I haven't checked this. I'll SMS myself, right? Or email myself, or SMS a team member, say, oh, let's check this in the morning. So I pray. I pray while I'm working. I pray before I work. When I'm facing a task that I'm like feeling overwhelmed before, there's some of those kind of projects, those kind of tasks that you're assigned. And then before you hit the ground running, you're already tensed. You're already feeling stressed. Those kind of ones. And that's the time to stop and pray. And ask for wisdom. Ask for wisdom. Plan the task out. How do you want to execute this assignment? Okay? Ask yourself that. How do I want to execute this assignment? Very, very, very important. So this enemy that we've called stress, is it really an enemy? Having listened to the points that I've shared today, I said 1, to take down the enemy called stress, accept that stress is an integral part of life. 2, work on your mindset or your reaction, your default reaction to stressful situations. 3, identify your stress triggers. What are the things that cause you tension at work? Is it a particular colleague? Yes, so some of us, a particular team member works and you're already tensed. Maybe because you've had some goings with that person or whatever, you have a history, whatever it is. Is it a particular client? Is it a particular boss? A particular manager? Someone was telling me this today that a particular, one of her boss's peers keeps sending her work to do. That kind of thing can cause stress, but she's been able to manage it thankfully. Okay, so it can cause stress. So what stresses you? Particular kinds of meetings that you have at work. Okay, those monthly review meetings, are those stressors? When you identify them, what can you do? What mindset change do you need to have? So for me, I've shared a couple of them. Okay, I've also asked you, what and who are you listening to? What and who are you listening to? What are you talking about? The content of your conversation with people around work. Is a good percentage of it around the negative things around your work? Or do you focus on the positives? Another point I'm going to share as we wrap up is find your grateful things. This is going to sound funny, but I have a former team member who said to me that she went to a new place to work, and salary was great, a lot greater than what she was earning where we were colleagues. And she said she wrote down her salary on her table and put it on her table, set her laptop, so that if anybody annoys her, she look at the salary and say, okay, this is how much they are paying me. No problem. It's okay. It's funny, but you see, you've got to find ways to distress. Okay? So another thing I said is ask for wisdom. Watch what you say to yourself and have a distress mechanism or a distress routine. A distress routine, right? Have a distress routine, a distress mechanism. What it is that you like to do, something that you do that helps you to have less stress. Okay? That's very important. Like I say, these sessions are supposed to help you to enjoy your work, to get better at being happy at work. That's the whole idea of doing these sessions. All right? Is to help you enjoy your job better. Okay? I want you happy at work. And I know that you can be happy at work. You can and you should be happy at work. Like I said at the beginning, your happiness at work and enjoying your job doesn't depend on how much you earn. doesn't depend on where you work. It doesn't depend on how long you've worked, okay? And I share these principles, and I've been doing this for 12 weeks or 13 weeks or so straight. So I'd like to encourage you to go through the IGTV, look at the title of the IGTV, you know, and you can start with the one that resonates with you the most, okay? You can also go on my page, on my link in bio. There are some free tools there. I promise I was going to add another free tool. I haven't added it yet. I'm going to do that. And there's my book titled Why Your Boss Prefers Your Colleague. You want to know why your boss prefers your colleague? Just hit the link in my bio, right? And it's just the price of one shawarma, 1K, maybe 1,000 naira, Nigerian naira. If you want to pay from outside the country, let me know. I'll find the way for you to do that. But the book teaches some foundational principles, okay? And I shared from part of the book today, you know, on the fact that the overwhelm of work needs an outlet. And I explain how you can create that outlet for yourself, you know, and engage your team members, engage your bosses, okay, in even that outlet. All right. So I hope today has been useful for you. Thank you for staying on. Thank you for watching this on IGTV. For those who watch on IGTV, I hope you've gotten some value. I hope you've gotten some ways, right? And I think you should just sit back after the session and think to yourself and say, what one thing stresses me at work, and I'm going to overcome that one thing this week. What one thing stresses me at work, and I'm going to overcome that one thing. If you don't have any distress routine, anything to distress you as a routine, anything that you are conscious of as a mechanism for distressing, please think through once a day. It may be movies, it may be praying, it may be worshiping God, it may be gisting with a particular friend, you know, that you can talk to and rant to, okay, and that helps you. Find that distress mechanism, okay? So, thank you everyone. Why Your Boss Prefers Your Colleague is available, right? I'm thankful to the over 100 people that have bought the book. A couple of people have bought 2, 3, 4, 5 copies for themselves and their friends. Thank you so much. You are encouraging me, you know, to keep doing this, you know, I was going to escape today. I was like, oh, I'm not doing Sunday Tonic today, but you know, I got some feedback today and I was like, okay, yesterday and then today again, like, you know, people were saying you've got to do this, okay? So please, what I want you to do for me, tag your friends, send them the link to my handle via WhatsApp, you know, via Instagram. Let them come to the handle, let them follow, let them watch the IGTV videos. The idea is to push this message out there. I want to push the message out there that more people can be happy at work. I don't know if you agree with me. More people should be happy at work, okay? And for those of us who have been on here, please talk about it. Talk to your friends, you know, and encourage them to join on. All right, so that's it from me for today. We'll see you again next week for another dose of Sunday Tonic. Like I said, on the webinar, I'm going to teach you how to teach your boss how to treat you. Okay, teach your boss how to treat you. Teach your boss to treat you right. Teach your boss to treat you right. Okay, that webinar is going to come up hopefully before the end of August. Okay, I'm going to do that webinar, and it's going to be a paid webinar. I'm thinking of giving a discount for those who've bought my book. So for those who bought my book, I think they will get it at a discount. Okay, there will be early bird, and then those who bought my book, I'm not sure yet, but it will be a paid webinar. Somewhere between 5K and 10K. You guys can tell me what you think, how much it should be. But the idea is for us to sit down for like 2 hours and with slides, you know, with content and materials that you can access, you know, and talk about teaching your boss how to treat you right. Okay, teaching your boss to treat you right. So thank you, everyone. We have come to the end of Sunday Tonic today, and I'll see you guys next week Sunday evening. Sunday evening, 5 p.m. Make it a date. Thank you, and have a great week ahead. Please remember to say to yourself, I am a valuable employee. I add value wherever I work. I'm a valuable employee. I add value wherever I work. All right. Thank you. Cheers, and see you next week Sunday. Bye.